What's up everybody, it's Jordan from TakeLessons.com, and in this video we are focusing on rhythm. So some people overlook rhythm a little bit when they're getting started in music, but I would point out that if you fail to work on rhythm and if you don't practice with a metronome and work on your timing, that's basically like being an archer or trying to shoot a bow and arrow and not practicing with a target. So if you think about that, it's pretty silly, and so it's a really good idea to grab a metronome and check out the rest of this video. So in this video we will be using examples from a book entitled Progressive Steps to Syncopation for the Modern Drummer. It was written by Ted Reed, and it is an awesome book. I have hundreds of music books in my library, and that is one of my all-time favorites for sure. So I highly recommend it, but if you don't have access to that, you can do these techniques, you can do this counting and clapping I'm about to show you on any piece of music, and you should do it on every piece of music that you intend on performing, and it will improve your timing. So what we're looking at is some music that was originally written for drummers. And what drummers would do, they would play one hand playing the top line, with the notes with the stems going up, and one hand playing the bottom line with the stems going down. So you're doing two things at once. Now for us, we're not necessarily drummers, so we're going to do this a little bit differently. We want to count and clap, and you must do both of these things. There's a relationship and a coordination we're trying to build between the beat and the music that's written. Now again, without explaining too much, if you just do these couple of things, it should make plenty of sense. Also, I get questions about singing and playing. Well, a great intermediate step before you sing and play is to count and play. And even before that, to count and clap. So there's so many benefits of doing this, but let's get started. Let's go ahead and jump in. So, number one, we count. We are in common time, otherwise known as 4/4 time, meaning every measure we just count to 4, over and over. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. The only rule is really that it stays steady. We can't go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, speeding up and slowing down. We have to keep it steady. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you'll notice there are 4 beats in every measure. And what we do in the clapping part is that if there is a quarter note above, which is this dot with the line going up, that means we clap. Now there are quarter rests and half rests, but for our purposes, we don't even really want to worry about that yet. If there's a quarter note, clap. If there's anything else, just don't worry about it. We only count. We would still count even if we're not clapping. So we would say 1, but we wouldn't count. So for example, there's notes over every beat. So number 1 would sound like 1, 2, 3, 4. Clapping on every beat. Number 2, we still count, but we don't clap on beat 1. We only clap on 2, 3, and 4. So that would sound like 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 3 is 1, 2, 3, 4. And number 4 is 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll start by counting and clapping through numbers 1 through 5. And keep in mind each one repeats 4 times, so we get 4 chances. So try to follow along with me, counting and clapping. Then I will stop and adjust, and we'll pick up from number 6. Here we go. 1 and 2, ready and go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, three, four, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, finishing out the page, numbers 6 through 9. 1, 2, ready and go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Watch out for numbers 8 and 9. Usually people have a hard time getting beat 1 of the next measure. Okay, finishing out lesson 1, numbers 10 through 15. 1 and 2, ready and go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so assuming you've gotten through all numbers 1 through 15 on lesson 1, then you should be ready for the 16-bar exercise. Now, so, assuming you've gotten through all numbers 1 through 15 on lesson 1, then you should be ready for the 16-bar exercise. Now, numbers 1 through 15, we get 4 chances to get those rhythms correct. In the 16-bar exercise, it changes every measure. It takes one of each of every measure we just tried and mixes them all up. So we really have to stay on our toes. And this is when keeping your eyes on the music as you're counting is so important. So it's very important. We got to really focus our eyes. 3 and 4. 1, clap. 3, clap. Clap. 2, 3, clap. Keeping everything steady and lined up. So here's the 16-bar exercise. I'll go a hair slower, but see if you can follow along. 1 and 2, ready and go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, if you got through the lesson and you got through the 16-bar exercise and you did it again with the metronome and you sped it up to twice as fast as we did it, then you have mastered quarter notes. So, if you got through the lesson and you got through the 16-bar exercise and you did it again with the metronome and you sped it up to twice as fast as we did it, then you have mastered quarter notes. From here, the next rhythm, I would suggest skipping to lesson 4 of syncopation for the modern drummer, and you will find eighth notes. Now, you may or may not know what eighth notes are. You may have no idea. But if I were to ask you, look at number 1. And again, so much about music, can seem like there's a lot going on here, but really we always want to focus our eyes on one thing at a time. If we just look at this first set of notes, I can tell you these are eighth notes, and if I say what beat are the eighth notes? You would say beat 1. You may not know what they sound like yet, but you now understand from a musical standpoint where those eighth notes are. Here, number 2, the eighth notes are on beat 2. Number 3, the eighth notes are on beat 3. 4, beat 4. Number 5, the eighth notes are on beat 1 and beat 2, and we have quarter notes on beat 3 and beat 4. Now the question is, what do these eighth notes sound like? So I'm going to go through these first few and give you an idea of what it sounds and what it feels like to play those eighth notes. And again, I'm only counting the beats, and I'm clapping the top line. Just be careful, we don't want to clap and count exactly the same way. I'll show you what I mean. Here is numbers 1 through 4 with eighth notes. 1 and 2, ready and go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now in another video, we had explained that it takes 2 eighth notes to equal 1 quarter note. And we talked a little bit about fractions and how that all lines up. But quite honestly, that's very, very confusing if you can't do it first. So I really recommend just jumping in, clapping along, and going through these rhythms. And then later on, you can analyze fractionally how everything relates. But for now, you just want to feel it. You want to get that feel of 1, 2, or is it number 2? Is it 2, 3? 2 claps just on beat 2. Now, there's a reason not to say 1 and 2. There's nothing wrong with clapping the rhythm or saying the rhythm. But again, our goal here is a coordination. We're actually exercising this certain part of our brain that's going to set us up really well when we're trying to play 2 things at once later on. So the next lesson I would jump into would be triplets, where we're dividing each beat into 3. So our first exercise with quarter notes was 1 clap per beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. Eighth notes was 2 claps per beat. 1, 2. The triplets is 3 claps per beat. And we won't do all of this, but just to give you an idea, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We can also divide the beat into fours, which we call 16th notes. And this, we usually say this one just because at this point the clapping gets a little bit out of hand. But 1 E and a 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And through all these different combinations of quarter notes, eighth notes, triplets, sixteenths, and even other rhythms that we haven't discussed yet, and then when you add the notes in and the different keys on the piano, it really opens up that world of music, and it's those different combinations that create the different melodies that we know and love and inspire us to learn to play music. So we got a little bit of a preview of some more advanced rhythms, the eighth notes, the triplets, and the sixteenths, but please don't feel overwhelmed by that. The number one goal right now is just to explore quarter notes and our basic beat, that feeling of counting a steady rhythm, in this case counting in fours, and getting really, really comfortable with that, because that's, as beginning piano players, that's what we're going to be dealing with a lot of at first. So thank you so much for joining me for this rhythm lesson and for this piano series. I really hope you enjoyed this introduction to piano. We have lots more great videos coming, and so please check those out. Again, my name is Jordan, and if you're interested in private lessons with myself or any of the other awesome teachers at TakeLessons.com, please don't hesitate to look us up, and we look forward to meeting with you. Thanks a lot, and bye-bye.